and welcome to Brutal Album Review. Well, brutal is the music anyway, and this one is called Satanic Torment from Finland. Let's take a look at this Submit to the Lord of Darkness debut album. Now, Satanic Torment started in around 2006, created a couple of demos, then ended up by basically, after a couple of years, basically, let's call it a day. But with 2012, they came back. And now this two-man band has actually released a full-length album that was already in 2017. Here's the CD inlaid, by the way, with the cool band logo and track list on the backside. Released by Bestial Burst, a label dedicated to brutal, unforgiving, barbaric material. Sorry, that way. So, Satanic Torment came back, released a couple of small albums, splits, demo, whatnot. Here are the lyrics. Very simple design, all in all, as you can see. Very simple lineup. And, well, now it's a three-man band, but the info kind of is lagging somewhere behind. No, what I was saying is that after a couple of, more miniature albums, they came back with this debut album that is very barbaric, primitive, kind of old schoolish black metal. About 30 minutes and then some. This album is mostly made of sheer brutality, simple riffs and lots of bass. Well, if you know Finnish band Baratrum, this is kinda similar yet way more primitive and more barbaric than that one. And the reason is this: it's a bass guitar dominated music with riffs that are quite simple, yet kind of also easy to get hooked on. But there are problems with this one, and the reason is sometimes the guys don't know what to include and what not in order to make a good CD, and thus this leaves me kind of undecided with this one. Better than mediocre, sure, but also having some major flaws. And one of the major flaws is the track which comes before the outro, which is very different than the rest of the album, but kind of good. The track called Antaudu Pimeyden Herralle, which is literally Submit to the Lord of Darkness, is 11-minute long track, which is kinda different from the rest of the music. While other tracks are mostly like 2, 3, maybe 4-minute tracks of sheer, violence and simple riffs and very, very raw, feral vocals. This one is more like a kind of a doom black hybrid with very experimental ideas. Being 11 minutes long, it's kind of really hard to actually enjoy. Not because of the length, but the ideas that it seems like it's kind of a random jamming that somehow ended up on this CD. And I find it really boring track. Boring because it's not good, it's more bad than good. And considering that it takes 1/3 of the whole length, I cannot just ignore one track with this go. I mean, if this were like 50 minutes and that was like 3 minutes, maybe then, sure, it wouldn't mind that much. But now it takes almost third of the whole length, and that kind of bothers me because it's also the track that ends the album plus outro, and thus it's gonna make this very cumbersome. The first parts of the album are like quite cute and barbaric, something to have your booze or beer, meat even, and then go, I don't know, a black metal underground gig and just have some barbaric, satanic time. But now this track feels like guys having a joint and trying to do some, I don't know, sludge or whatever, and this becomes so kind of annoying way to finish a track that it really bothers me. Now, that is not the only flaw here, but it's the major one. The other thing which kind of annoys me is the production on this album. While not totally bad, it's kind of a little bit maybe too raw for my taste in this context. Now, I understand this kind of music kind of requires very raw and primitive output. There's nothing wrong with that as such. But considering that there's very little guitar, or at least I cannot, pinpoint it underneath, those bass and primitive drum tracks, it kind of makes it sound as if there's only, vocals, bass guitar, and drums. And since drums are rather simple, you easily start focusing on just, bass. And while there's nothing wrong with, having bass, leading kind of an album, it still makes me feel that it's missing something, like those kind of badass sounding guitars that would create extra layer of danger, kind of sharpness and violence, and I don't know. But now it makes me feel like this is a blunt weapon and some, I don't know, rotten wood and shield that are just, getting banged together. And while it's kind of great, it also gets a little bit dull after a while. However, I still like some ideas what Satanic Torment is delivering, and as such, for those of you with a primitive mindset and the like to, like bands such as, Ill maybe even early Bathory, and in general, primitive black metal bands, maybe you should just consider checking this out. It's not beautiful to listen to, it's not a music to make friends with, but it's certainly raw, hateful and violent, and those vocal parts, they are just great. So, check out Satanic Torment if you consider yourself a fan or friend of a primitive black metal, otherwise, not good to go. Anyway, as always, comment section is open for ideas, questions, comments, and whatever. And see you soon with more Rauta reviews. Bye.